Believe it or not, it's been 3.5 years, there or thereabouts, since Nintendo first sent us fans absolutely bonkers at E3 2017 with the titillating reveal of that shiny Metroid Prime 4 logo. Alas, as I'm sure you're aware, the game was then scrapped a year later and development completely restarted from the beginning, this time with Retro Studios back at the helm of the series that put them on the map. They've since been on one hell of a hiring spree, and there may be some clues as to what we can expect from this incredibly talented new team. Greetings everyone, Phil here from Nintendo Village, thanks for joining us. I've got a sneaking suspicion that Metroid Prime 4 isn't just going to be another solid Metroid Prime game, but will in fact be an absolute gobsmacking experience that will take the franchise from cult fan favourite to global superstar. I'm going to explain my reasoning in this video and explore some rather interesting Samus Aran concept art. I hope you enjoy it. If you do, don't forget to subscribe to the channel as we have new videos up every week. And so without further ado, let's get into it. I love Metroid, and I'm sure you do too considering you're watching this video. But the series has never quite hit the popularity heights of the likes of Mario and Zelda. The Metroid fanbase is a passionate one, but the series has never been a top performer for Nintendo in terms of sales, despite pretty consistent critical acclaim. Metroid Prime is the best seller in the franchise, hitting a respectable 2.8 million sales. But with the exception of the original NES game, every other entry hovers around the 1 to 1.5 million mark. That's nothing to sneeze at, of course, but for comparison, mainline Zelda games routinely cleared a 3 million mark and often hit numbers wildly in excess of that. Metroid sales figures are much more akin to something like Pikmin than to Nintendo's other long-running franchises. Metroid has always been the awkward little brother compared to its older NES siblings of Mario and Zelda. The games are always pretty solid, even the likes of Other M and Federation Force have their charms. But considering the series, along with Castlevania, birthed an entire genre of video games, they've always kind of underperformed. However, I think what's been going on at Retro is going to change all that. All things considered, it's been a bit of a turbulent time at Retro since they shipped their last Metroid game. Rumours abound of cancelled projects, staff have been walking out of the door on a regular basis, and there was even talk of Nintendo wanting to restructure the entire company to beat it into shape. Still, some passionate employees remained, and if reports are to be believed, Retro themselves pitched Nintendo to be involved in Metroid Prime 4. According to research conducted by Video Games Chronicle, roughly half of the core team that worked on Metroid Prime 3 are still at the company. And since Nintendo announced that the studio would be taking the reins on Prime 4 back in January 2019, they've been on an almighty hiring spree. The roles they've been hiring for haven't been filled by talented up-and-comers or programming journeymen either. They've been hiring some top-class talent, and considering the team now at Retro, this isn't one that's just going to churn out another Metroid Prime game. They could well create a genre-defining, generation-defining, world-class experience, one that snaps up all of the Game of the Year awards. Who have they been hiring? Well, there's some seriously solid FPS experience on board. The director of development is a chap by the name of Dylan Jobe. He's worked on the likes of Doom, COD and Warhawk, which raises the interesting prospect of some aerial battles in Samus' ship, though he'll largely be in an organisational role rather than totally hands-on. There's also a visual effects team consisting of Adad Morales, Nicholas Wilson and Brian Irk. Between them, these guys have worked on Battlefield, Borderlands, Tomb Raider, as well as DICE's infamous cancelled Star Wars single-player adventure. Throw in a lead programmer in the guise of former Treyarch employee Bharadwaj Bhatt Nandakumar, whose fingerprints are over every Black Ops game to date, and a lead producer in the shape of GTA, Red Dead and Overwatch veteran Marisa Palumbo, and we're looking at a Metroid Prime 4 that has some serious firepower. Interestingly, many of those people have significant experience in multiplayer shooters, and Nandakumar in particular specialised in online tools and gameplay programming. We could very well be looking at the return of Metroid multiplayer, perhaps playing as Marines or Space Pirates a la Black Ops, rather than multiple Samuses running around, or maybe even taking the hero approach with Samus and other characters from the game playable. It remains to be seen, but with this much FPS and multiplayer experience on board, it's not beyond the realms of possibility that there could well be a competitive multiplayer aspect to the next Metroid game. Of course, any Metroid game will live or die on its single player experience, and I think we're in for one hell of a treat when it comes to exploring the game world of Prime 4. Indeed, Retro managed to tempt lead designer Stephen Dupree back to the studio, having previously overseen the sublime Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. Anyone who's played that game will tell you it's a masterpiece of level design and character control, so you know Prime 4 is in safe hands with him at the helm. What's even more exciting though is the team he has under him. Johnny Lundstedt has previously spent 12 years at EA DICE working on games like Mirror's Edge and Battlefield, but has now joined Retro as the art director. Working alongside him is none other than John Marchella, a Santa Monica Studios veteran of 10 years who, among other things, worked on the widely praised God of War. That had some truly stunning areas to explore, and now Marchella is bringing that expertise to Metroid as Prime 4's environment artist. This ain't no ragtag bunch of games designers that Retro have pulled together. This is the A-Team. These are some seriously talented and experienced individuals, and together, assuming everything goes smoothly, I think they could create something truly special. It's also worth noting that several of these guys have left long-term positions to come to Retro to work on Metroid Prime 4. And I don't think you do that when you've got that much experience and that much pedigree, unless you've got the opportunity to work on something truly unique. Before we wrap up, what about Samus herself? Well, in October last year, Retro hired Kyle Heffley as their lead character artist. He's also worked on Black Ops, but is probably most well known for his work on Halo. Obviously, I don't need to point out the similarities between Master Chief and Samus Aran. Suffice to say that the kind of characters Heffley will need to create for Prime 4 are well within his wheelhouse. Interestingly, if you head over to Heffley's ArtStation portfolio site, he has some old personal work featuring none other than Samus Aran herself. Now, naturally, this being older work, there's nothing to say that this is exactly what Samus will look like in Prime 4. But it's clear that Heffley is undoubtedly a Metroid fan, and some of the concepts and ideas in these designs could well make it into the final product. Assuming they clear Nintendo's strict style guide, of course. To sum up, all of this suggests that Retro aren't just looking to churn out another sci-fi adventure, but rather are shooting for a generation-defining experience. There's some serious talent in the studio now. Talent that could mean that Metroid Prime 4 has a more fluid FPS feel to it, but nevertheless bring it bang up to date. The only downside is, with key positions still left to fill, we could be looking at a bit of a wait before we actually get to play it. Thanks very much for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know down in the comments what you're hoping to see for Metroid Prime 4 and whether or not you want to see the return of Metroid multiplayer. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, we've got tons of other cool stuff here on the channel for you to enjoy, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date with all of our weekly uploads. Don't forget to check out thenintendovillage.com for more Nintendo news, reviews, features, podcasts, and all that cool stuff. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you all next time.